You guys want to see a GigaChad massive gaming desktop with loads of power? I think that you do, so let's have a look. This right here is the Dell Alienware Area-51. The Area-51 are their higher spec. They have the Aurora, which is, more affordable. The Area-51 is when you start to get into the GigaChad type stuff, where it's a big desktop. Typically, you're going to be speccing these out quite a bit higher, and they're more performance focused as well. Now, it's a very physically large desktop, as you can see there, very, very large desktop. You can get these all the way up to a 5090. Dell actually contacted me and said, do you want to review this? It's just a loaner. And they were like, which one do you want to review? 5080, 5090. So I had my pick. And I actually said, let's go with the 5080 because, 5090 is obviously going to be like crazy powerful, especially in such a big case like this with all these components. I think a lot of reviewers would pick the 5090 because it's, fun to play with 5090, obviously. But I was like, you know what? I think obviously just based on like the market, more people are going to be interested in the 5080 just based on cost, right?
Okay, so let's have a look at the builder here. Now, there are lots of different options for these Area-51 desktops. Just be aware, pricing is super dynamic here. So when I show prices, I mean, they change all the time. It's super volatile these days. And typically with Dell, you can actually get a lot of coupons and discounts anyways. So don't necessarily ever take these at face value because I've been able to get a lot of stuff from Dell down like a lot. So just close that out. We have AMD over here and we have Intel over here. They're going to be very similar outside of the CPU options. So we have, 285K, 285K, lots of that on the Intel. I'm kind of happy that I took a couple days here to actually publish this review because the 9950X3D2 was just launched like a week ago, not even. So it looks like you can already get it here, which is sweet. So we have the 9800X3D. Obviously, if you're just going for absolutely just pure gaming, that's a really good option. Today, I actually have, they sent it over. Is it in here? There, where is it? There it is. The 9850X3D, which is right now the absolute best gaming. This is the absolute best gaming CPU you can get. You can get the 9800X3D. They sent me the 9850X3D, which is my first experience with it. So that's really awesome that they sent that over. You do have the 9950X3D, which I own myself. And they actually already have the 9950X3D2, which literally just came out. So if you want the absolute best of the best, I mean, that's pretty much the most powerful system you can possibly build. RTX 5090 and the 9950X3D2, of course, or X3D1, not only are incredible for gaming, but also good for professional tasks. So if you're using the system specifically for gaming, 9800X3D, 9850X3D, one of these two will be obviously sufficient. If you're using it specifically for mixed use, gaming and also professional tasks, you can go for the 9950X3D. It's a little tough for me to cover pricing overall, but when it comes down to it, to be honest, I mean, you can do a lot of customizing here. And in this market nowadays, you can actually get a really powerful system that would actually cost less than building it yourself. So you can come in here and you can say, well, I want the X3D or I want the brand new X3D2. Yes, 5080, 5090, right? Lots of different options here. We're dealing with the 5080 today, but you can certainly go up to the 5090. And if you're looking to get, I suppose, a 5090 system, honestly, your best bet for a 5090 system by far is a pre-built these days. Because a 5090, not only are they very hard to find, but they cost like $4,000 just for a GPU, to be honest. And you don't get all the RAM and all that kind of stuff here. So these are a really good option. You can come in here, you can spec this how do you want, throw some coupons on it. Honestly, you can get these things down a little bit further and you can get an incredibly powerful system with like the best and the best and the best and the best that honestly you wouldn't be able to build your own these days for even close to this price.
So again, this is a very large desktop. You can see here, it's a very, very, very big desktop, kind of like a giant monolith of power. Some people won't like that. Some people will like, small cases. Some people will like the big case. Personally, I wouldn't have it on my desk. I would just put it down. There's a huge space underneath my desk, perfect where this fits, no problem, but I'm filming a review, so I'm not gonna put it on the ground. So despite the fact that it is very big, to be honest, for me, it wouldn't be on my desk, so it wouldn't bother me at all. I tend to gravitate slightly more towards the smaller desktops if they are on my desk, because then they're in my camera shot and they won't take up as much room. If they're below my desk, I actually don't care. So that's that. So here it is, nice clean package. I'm gonna have to take all the plastic off, but I think it's like literally a brand new unit. I'll have to take this off because it's got some obstruction to the airflow, so that's obviously not great for testing, but it came very well packaged. It actually has, the GPU is actually in here locked in, like it's not going anywhere, but it had another thing, I guess, just for whatever, but it is a lovely looking machine. So let's look at the ports on that. So obviously we have the big fan intake here. with your big large fans pulling in the front. This is quite a large opening there, like maybe 3 or 4 centimeters. So it's not like it's not going to get airflow. It'll just pull it in there without any issues. So even though that looks kind of closed off, it's really not. That'll be good front to back airflow. Of course, the top, we have that huge radiator, which inside of the system. So we have huge radiator opening here, and it's going to have no problems. It does have a dust filter. That's good. I'll pull it in there. 5 gigabit USB-A, 5 gigabit. These are both good for stuff like USB, fast USB. This is a SATA based speed, so 500 megabytes a second. This is a game drive, so I run all my games, or about half of my games I run off of this. Those will be perfect there. Then we get to even faster USB-C. These are 1000 megabyte, 10 gigabit, which equates to 1000 megabyte a second. So with those, you can get NVMe enclosures and that kind of stuff and hook those up and get really, really fast. By the way, this did come with a glass panel on the side. I just took it off because it's really hard to film glass, to be honest. So this is the release mechanism. When you first get the desktop, this will be locked down. You won't be able to open it for shipping, which is good. There's a screw that goes in there. Once you take that screw out, then you can release the lock. And this, you turn that and it will unlock the doors, and you can then press these buttons, which I'll do in a sec. We have 4 USB on the top here with a light on that one. This is a fast 5 gigabit. So again, you can run enclosures and that kind of stuff. Just if you need more storage, just plug it in there. Very good. Lots of USB-C ports there. We do have access, of course, to 10 gigabit, very nice, 2 fast ports there, and 2 USB 4 ports. I'll test those for speed. USB 4 obviously very good because you can run enclosures, you can run docks, you can run all kinds of stuff. Whatever you need, USB 4 is going to be nice and fast, and there's 2 of them. Wi-Fi antenna down here plugged in, and the power supply intake. And here's a look in the back side here. Very clean, very good cable management, obviously. Again, they're not cheaping out a bazillion RGB headers. So if you want to take this thing to the absolute max, you have all of the look at these empty RGB headers. Holy smokes. So you're certainly not going to be left wanting for headers there. You have a spot here for a 2.5 inch, so you can put in an SSD or a hard drive. SSD or hard drive, so good expansion there. This also comes off as well, which you can mount some stuff on there if need be, some extra stuff. Kind of a cable, kind of a hide, if you want to get into the back of the cooler, you can take that off, and then you'll see the cooler underneath there. That's very good. Cable management running through there, very nice. Power supply down here. It is locked in, so there's no problems there. Very nice. Not going to be moving around at all. Very good to see. Bracket there just to keep things nice and structured. They're focusing very much on nothing's not moving around. Hard drive bay down here. Technically, you could put another one on top if need be. No cheapness hiding here. It's clear that they're taking pride in this as being their premium lineup. Okay, so inside. Now let's actually I'm going to bring my light in a little bit closer because I want this thing to get. So obviously it's a standard size ATX motherboard. So technically, if I don't know, in 5 years or something, it's a pretty powerful system. Don't know why you do that. 10 years, okay, in 10 years down the road, you're like, I want to upgrade this thing. I want to recycle the case or something. Yeah, it's just a standard ATX layout there, so there's nothing weird about that. This has a 9850X3D, so it's going to be a very long time before you'd want to upgrade it, to be honest, unless you're crazy. Anyways, so this is a slidable bracket here for the GPU. The GPU is now locked in. If you get a 5090, for example, you can slide that over, and the 5090 will be bigger. It'll slide over, it'll be more room in there. It'll take up more room in there, so you'll slide that over to fit that in. Down the road, you switch things around. If you're like me, you're always switching stuff around, you can change it. Cables coming out there. We actually have the fans here feeding into the GPU as well. Dell / Alienware GPUs are generally quite good quality. Gamers Nexus, I think, did a full review, it was like a generation ago, teardown of one of their GPUs, and I've done it many times. I don't know if I've recorded a video, I can't remember, but I have torn down Dell GPUs, and they're generally quite good, actually. They're very robust cooling. You can see the good fin density there. You get airflow right through, so from the bottom there, right through the GPU, out the top and out, so it's going to be cooled very well. So down here, we have our first NVMe tray. So you basically just, if you want to swap out parts or whatever, or upgrade parts, you just want to slap in an NVMe or whatever like that, you just take out this here. Just grab my screwdriver. Take this out here. 1 and 2. And when you take that out, you take that off, you're going to get access to your first 2 NVMEs. On the storage side, we'll just kind of slide up here. NVMe primary there with a big heatsink on it, and you can see how it has those radiator fins that run that way, because this is a front to back airflow case, so you're going to get air flowing quite literally over top of the GPU and should run through those fins and actually keep it nice and cool. A giant piece of metal helps too, but having a radiator style is very good. Some SATA ports down here as well. They're hooked up. There's no SATA hard drives in here, but they're hooked up. So you basically, they come pre-hooked up. So you just literally slap your hard drives in, which is basically just underneath here. You can't really see it, but underneath there is your hard drive bays. And then of course on the back, there's that spot where you can put SATA, NVMe's or hard drives, whatever. So very good so far. Let's move up. Rip. We do have I'd call it proprietary. It's like semi-proprietary because this is the motherboard connector. You can see it's split in half. So you can see that there. A little bit different than some standard. So typically if your power supply went and you wanted to replace it, you'd want to get an Alienware specific one. Also, these things have warranties and you can buy more warranty. So if you're buying a pre-built, one of the benefits of them is a coherent warranty. So just be aware of that. Just get Dell to deal with it, to be honest. If something goes wrong, pretty unlikely, but that's what they're for. That's one of the nice things. Later down the road, you want to swap out, I don't know, like what's out, AM10 or something, or AM6 comes out, or AM7, and there's some weird, crazy upgrade or something like that. Just be aware, you're typically going to take that out. The only weird thing will be that connector. Otherwise, no problems there. Otherwise, looking good. Lots of VRM coverage here with huge fin stack as well. Massive chunks of metal there, and again, airflow through them, so that should keep the VRMs nice and cool. We'll check on hardware info a little later and see if that's good. We have our fan connector, which is kind of cool. It's like a module you click on. That's really neat. Kingston Fury RAM. Nice fast. Cray Beast. I believe it's 6400 megatransfers. Very good. Huge AIO, obviously. It's an X3D, Ryzen 7 X3D, 9850 X3D. They don't run hot in the first place because they're not super high TCP CPUs, so I don't expect it to run hot anyways. However, having a really good, robust cooler means, for one thing, it's going to run quieter, doesn't have to work as hard, and it means that CPU can run at its maximum threshold without basically throttling, because those CPUs do not want to get hot. They will throttle if they're not adequately cooled, which is bad. You don't obviously want that. So this will keep it nice and cool, nice clean little setup. So pretty straightforward. I mean, it's an ATX motherboard with good NVMe expansion, storage, everything's looking fine. I guess you can't put in quad memory, but it's 2026. Who's upgrading the memory on these things? Are you crazy? It's actually cheaper to do it from Dell, which is crazy. Like, you're better off just clicking that button and getting the RAM upgrade rather than doing it yourself, because you're going to pay a freaking fortune. These guys find a way to make these things somewhat affordable, or they just eat the cost and make it up somewhere else. Because if you just went out and bought these RAM modules, they'd be very expensive. So the fact that it has two is like, it's fine. Just do it. If you want the RAM, now's the time to buy it, honestly, from Dell, unless you're willing to wait for a little while and hope for a later upgrade. I just do it through them. So yeah, nice clean package. I really like the look of it. It's been a long time since I've had a Dell, like Alienware, Area-51, like their top spec. Very, very long time. It looks like they're very clean inside, look quite nice. Now there are a few different software that come with this. You'll want to keep them. This is Dell Support Assist. It looks like it's Alienware branded. This is very useful because you can get support type stuff. It has your service tags, support, that kind of stuff in here. The other thing you can do is you can do your updates in here, which would be hardware level updates. You always want to do hardware updates from the OEM where possible, rather than letting Windows do it. You can come in here, you can scan. So keep this on here. This is Dell Support Assist. It's good software. You're going to want to keep that on here. Keep that. Very good. And this is the Alienware, what is it called? A command center. I was going to say activity center. That's weird. Yeah, so you have your three modes here: performance, balanced, and quiet. It will affect the noise essentially, but this thing runs so quiet anyways, there's no point. Okay, and Alien FX. So we have the front there, different areas. We can go all. We can just do all zones to make it easier. And there you go. Now they're all pink or pinky purple. Right? There's different effects you can go through. Let's make that. Yeah, so now we can have like blue and purple at the same time or something like that. Right? We could kind of get like that. We can have the top one being, I don't know, green. You can pick it however you want. This is pretty cool though. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not the biggest RGB person, but if you're gonna do RGB, this is how I want it to be done. Because like either you go all in or you do not go all in. Because this is all in, I'm actually not against it because it looks cool. Because you can have this there, customize that. I actually don't like the rainbow style stuff, like where it's rainbowing through. That kind of bothers me. But a static color, especially something like this, like a purpley type thing, it really does not actually bother me. So you can do all those type of zones. You can go, all design. I guess some front end stuff. You can have your launchers in here. So rather than having them on your desktop, this is all the stuff installed. I have a big Steam library. These are all installed on my SSD there. Yeah, and well, they're all new. Anyway, so you can come in here and you can launch directly from here. Just make your life easier rather than having them all on your desktop. Keep things nice and clean. So yeah, very nice. Good software. Good software. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is test noise and thermals more than anything, just using the CPU and idle, and then we'll do game testing, which in case we'll hit the CPU and the GPU, we'll test that as well. So idle here, you can hear that there is a system on, but it's not super loud or anything like that. Maybe half a dB above my noise floor. Now this is a 9850X3D. It is not like a heavy CPU compute type thing. It's not designed to do the most heavy compute tasks on the CPU. It's meant for gaming. However, it still can do pretty heavy CPU compute. Not going to beat out 9950X3D. If you need to do both, you would typically do that. But let's see what we can get here. Oh, by the way, the idle watts, it bounces them down, but you're sitting at about 10 idle. Looks like it's probably doing something, so it's up to about 19 or 18. But typically the idle watts here is around 15 to 20, and it's down to 13. Throw some in here. So you can see it dumps in, 150, 145 watts or so. Quite a bit. This is the 9850X3D, not the 9800X3D. It's a little bit different. So right away the CPU fan turns on, but it's very quiet. Yeah, it's just a couple dB. It's very low. Like there's no resonance, and the actual range, like the frequency range, is very low. I can hear it, but it's now very low. It almost sounds like there's a fan on, like in a room over or something like that. It's very quiet. The scores here are going to be obviously pretty damn good. 23,476, big jump from previous generation 7800X3D. Typically, if you're going to be wanting something that's specifically for just CPU tasks, you get like a 9950X or something like that. If you're looking for something to do CPU and GPU, CPU and gaming at the same time, and you want like max performance, you get the 9950X3D or something like that, or the X3D2. That being said, that's still very good. Like my laptop that I use, I have a pretty capable laptop, and I do all my video editing on it, just so you know, and it does not get that high of a score. And it's a very capable laptop. It's also not even close to throttling. We never hit 80 degrees on anything here. So, I mean, a big cooler on this thing over here, running nice and cool. So yeah, if you want to be using this thing also for just CPU type tasks, it's gonna be quite good. Obviously, we'll jump into some gaming in a moment and test, thermals, noise, and performance. I expect it to obviously be very good, but I did run some quick benchmarks here, just a couple that really matter, to be honest. Wi-Fi is very fast. I do not have good Wi-Fi where I am. It's actually quite terrible, and that's pretty damn good. It's coming through multiple walls, and we're getting almost 600 megabytes a second. That's as good as my Wi-Fi is you're ever gonna see from my Wi-Fi. The upload sucks. It's just the place that I'm at right now temporarily, and the upload blows. But I'm very happy with that Wi-Fi. You can see there's a lot more that can be pulled out of that, because that's as fast as mine can go. The internal SSD obviously is a Gen 5 SSD. It's SK Hynix, so good quality, PCB01. You're getting Gen 5 speeds, very fast, obviously. So whatever it is that you're gonna be doing that's the most fastest thing imaginable, it's gonna be very good. Typically, the other two NVMe slots I would put in like slower drives, because they're more for bulk storage. And of course, the USB on the back is actually a USB 4. You can see there we're getting USB 4 speeds. Right, doesn't matter, but the reads are USB 4 speeds. So it's very good. We're getting very good speeds. Everything as advertised out of it. That's awesome. Okay, so I think the next thing we can do here, honestly, is we can just load this thing up, get some games running. What I'll do is I'll actually run maybe Cyberpunk, which is CPU and GPU heavy. I'll run it for maybe like half an hour or something like that. Just let it sit for a while. Then we can check the temperatures like on the sensors. We can also open this up, quickly do some imaging with a thermal camera, see what's going on the inside. Then we can close it back up and we can actually do some gaming and see what it can. So looking over here, again, we'll look at the performance modes and that kind of stuff in a moment, but we'll just see here. So the GPU is obviously not going to run very hot. We have reasonably sized 5080. There are bigger 5080s, but it's reasonably sized. It's kind of a perfect middle ground, fairly thin actually compared to some of them, but nice fin density, and it also has, of course, those fans on the bottom feeding directly into it. So despite the fact that it's being slammed, we're below 70 degrees. You love to see that. That's very nice. GPU power, it's pulling its max power. Again, this is all stock, so no problems there. The CPU is running around 60-ish, 61, 62 degrees, and this is Cyberpunk, which is quite hard on the CPU, and we're having no problems there. You can see the clocks are not bouncing around or anything like that. It's just good. 88 to 90 watts or so, I think we saw, maybe 90 there for a moment on the CPU, so no problems. RAM also no problems. Very good. So that's all good thermals there. Let's kick back out here for 1 second. Okay, so we have our hardware info here. Let's bring up this. We'll just kind of scroll down. We'll look for any problematic stuff. So obviously the CPU is completely no problems whatsoever on temperatures. Very good. The RAM, 45 degrees is nothing. 45 degrees is nothing. The drive, 41. It's very low for Gen 5, obviously. Very good. This is all looking good. The GPU, no problems there. Memory junction temperature, 70 degrees, also nothing. No problems there whatsoever. It's running nice and cool. Yeah, so I mean, on paper, everything's looking real good. All these sensors are reporting nice, healthy results. My noise floor we saw was like 33, 3 to 3.5. And again, the actual tone is not annoying. There's no resonance. There's just, generally speaking, it's just generally not an annoying computer. Okay, so this will be recording here, this camera, and I have my thermal imaging camera here. So we can see there's no heat here, just a little bit coming out the back. Can't really see through too well. It's picking up a little bit, but not much. So now we'll open it up real quick. And again, this has been running for quite some time. Big piece of glass there, get that out of there. And have a look inside. Obviously a little bit noisier with the glass off, but that's okay. Now let's have a look. So the GPU, these red, I mean, it's just the palette we're looking at. So don't be alarmed by red. Doesn't necessarily mean it's super hot. Right there on the back there, there's a little bit of warmth, but it's only 65, not a problem. Right in the center there, yeah, about 60. We were reporting around 60 is like the highest on the actual core. The memory was reporting around 70 peak. The actual 12-volt high power, nice and cool, no problems. Love to see that. Down here, I mean, there's not much going on down here. Just kind of hanging out. So obviously, no problems there. That NVMe thing is looking super cool as well. Pulling air across, very good. The VRMs, nice and cool. You can see that piece of metal on top, keeping everything cool. Sub 50 is wonderful. The RAM is nice and cool. So yeah, I mean, it's just generally a cool system inside. You'd expect as much. It's huge. Very, very big system, lots of airflow. It's an airflow focused case. You'd expect no problems here. So what I'm getting at here is that, you can get this thing with beefier specs. You could get a 5090 in here, for example. Put in a 5090, which is a much higher wattage system, much higher wattage GPU. So it's going to pump more heat into the system here. We don't have any problems here. Nothing's running super hot. Lots of airflow, front to back, bottom to top. Really no problems there whatsoever. So I think you have a pretty effective system here in terms of keeping things nice and cool. Even if you added this thing, put it for 5090 and spec'd it out with that, I don't foresee any problems here. It's looking good. Okay, so now we'll actually do some game testing just to kind of show you guys what the thing can do. We've proven now, obviously it's very powerful, very capable. It's a great pick in terms of, if you want a big chassis that's going to run nice and cool and have no problems keeping anything in check that's in there, it'll be great. This is a 4K screen. The 4080 is definitely 4K capable. It's just going to depend on what kind of frames you want, what kind of game. We'll do a little Cyberpunk because it's a GPU and CPU heavy game, and it really does benefit from the X3D cache. I'll probably try like a slightly more competitive game as well, because people tend to want really high frame rates than that. Here, most people are like, I get 60, 65, I'm good to go. So what we're looking at here, we can, it's 4K, so we could go like 4K Ultra. 4K Ultra Native might not be, the highest FPS because it's 4K Ultra Native, but let's see here. Oh, it actually gives a 60. Okay, so yeah, 4K Ultra Native, pretty close to 60. Wait for this guy to stop talking. This is a bug. This dude here, once he goes away, the frame goes up, as you can see. There you go. He basically nukes your performance. So you're getting above 60, 4K 60. This is Dogtown. And Dogtown is very, very, very demanding. That's why I test here. And we're pretty close to 4K 60 native. If there's any screen tearing, don't worry about that. I have, this is not a gaming screen by any means. Yeah, easy 4K 60 type gameplay through here, 62 average. Even the dips down are 55 or something. Good lows, 55. Again, just walking through, right? Let's stand here for a second before I start tweaking things. I'm going to show you something else here. So this is going to be just the most basic overclock in the entire world. I'm not doing like voltages and all that kind of stuff. You can do that. This GPU can handle it, obviously. But what I'll do here is I'm literally just going to slide it. So we'll go like that. We'll go GPU select. We'll select the 5080. Right, we'll go like that. We'll save it. These are pretty low risk. The only thing that will happen is you might crash if you overclock too much. That's fine. So this is the memory, the core. I'll just slap on 600 megahertz. You can see we went from 50, 65, we went up a little bit. We'll just reset that again. Right, it's not going to be the biggest on here, but it might make a little bit of difference. 66. Do that again. 600 megahertz. Core, we can probably do 400. Beyond that, you might want to do a little bit more like tweaking. But that's a 600 and 400 overclock. And it gave us, let's just save that here. We'll go save that in there. So that's around 70. We'll go reset. Yeah, it's like 5-6% performance for free, nothing. Again, there are games where it's more effective. I usually actually do this segment here in something like Oblivion Remaster, Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster, because it seems to really benefit from those higher overclocks with CPU and especially with memory. It could be the way that the textures are streaming in, and it actually benefits quite a bit when you do that if you run an overclock there. But we'll do that, and you can just see it's just free performance, right? There's the old school one, but you might as well use transformer model, and because we're at 4K, you can use a lot. I mean, you can use performance, and you won't be able to tell that it's on, unless you're like, I don't know, super keen-eyed. Let's wait for this guy to stop talking again. Watch this. Watch this performance. Watch this. Watch this. Boom. 15 FPS or more. Yeah, so, throw in some scaling, leave everything else there, and you're getting into higher FPS now. So this is ultra ray tracing 1440p now. You can see the GPU usage actually dropped down slightly. We're not even at 100% anymore. We're loading up that CPU, but it's a very powerful CPU. Designed specifically for, this is literally the best gaming CPU that exists. There is no better CPU. So it doesn't matter what you do, you can't get a better CPU than this. It's quite effective. It's funny, we're actually able to bottleneck even the most powerful CPU here in these settings. Very good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is we are going to throw in some frame gen. So let's go back up to 4K. Okay, we're back now, and we're at that 4K ultra ray tracing, so very, very high settings. But now we also have frame gen on, 4 times frame gen. So, as you can see there, it doesn't really affect the lows. The lows will be the same. However, your actual raw FPS goes up massively, right? So now we're at over 200 FPS. So if you're a big FPS chaser, obviously you can get by with 4 times frame gen. There's 2 times frame gen, which you can use at, let's go over here. 2 times frame gen, which the previous generation would have. But one of the benefits for the new one is if you're going to use frame gen, you can see the lows are unchanged. It doesn't make any difference there. But it basically doubles your frame rate. Okay, so here we are we'll do some Apex. Picked an area that I think is going to be very demanding because it's pretty good settings here. Right, we have that on transformer model. Let's go like that. Yeah, so transformer model, I'll just quickly do this real quick. You have transformer model and you have CNN. Transformer model looks better, runs better, so you can use more of it. You can see, actually, they even say it. CNN is DLSS 2 and 3, whereas transformer is DLSS 4. So where possible, you're going to want to use DLSS 4, like for sure. And you can actually use more of it because it looks better and it runs better. So here's like performance. We have no frame gen here. This is just 4K epic with some DLSS on, well, a lot of DLSS on, and very high frame rates. Right? Very, 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 very high frame rates. It's going to be extremely playable on that there. And again, I can turn it, like I can just show you. You can just turn it, like, for example, just way down, right? It doesn't need it, but you might as well use some frame gen, or some DLSS, because it's going to give you excellent performance. Why would you not use it? Okay, so now we're at 1440p, and you can see I turned the scaling way down now, down to quality, and turn it up. Just playing with stuff, just very high FPS, right? Very, very, very high FPS, 1440p. Right, we're almost at 200 FPS with no frame gen. This is no frame gen, it's just scaling. You can turn on frame gen if you want. the thing is very large and hard to see through. So 4 times. Okay, so now we're back in with 4 times frame gen. It's such a high FPS. So we're at 1440p with some scaling, and then 4 times frame gen, like, yeah, I mean, we're at 450 FPS. So it's obviously very high. This is not even 1080p, right? This is the X3D cache CPU. It's the most powerful gaming CPU you can get. We're not quite maxing the GPU, but it's pretty close. That means, you know, we're just offloading a little bit onto the CPU. But again, we have such high FPS. Like, it's crazy how high the FPS are. And the lows are still like above, like around 60. Like the 0.1% lows are 45. The 1% lows are bouncing around a little bit, but quite good. So it doesn't feel, how do I describe this? It doesn't feel like choppy, I guess I'd say, because we don't have, you know, terrible lows, despite the fact that the average frame rate is massively high. Look at that frame time. It's pretty low too. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're going to play at 4K, it's going to be very good. You're going to have a blast at 4K. If you're actually competitive, like I'm not competitive in this game at all, but if you're very competitive, you know, you can come in here, load it up to especially a 1440p screen, or of course 1080p if you want, and just get crazy frame rates. Okay, and that is that. The Alienware Area-51, obviously an absolute monster. The conclusions are pretty straightforward. If you're looking for a very powerful system, very, very, very powerful system that you can spec out quite a bit with the most powerful gaming CPU you can get, and you get the 5080. If you're going to be playing more competitive stuff at lower resolutions, that might be a good way to go. If you're going to be playing a lot of AAA titles, you know, very demanding, ray tracing, path tracing, especially at 4K, that's when you potentially want to crank up this thing and, you know, throw in the 5090 or something like that. But either will run well. It's an excellent machine. Negatives, I mean, it's not really a negative. It depends on you. It's a very big, physically large case. So for me, you know, I always go for smaller stuff because it sits on my desk. If you don't care about that, you just throw it under your desk, whatever, you want to display it. It's a big case, so it's definitely going to pop. People are going to see that. Otherwise, there's nothing really, right? Like it runs very cool, runs very quiet. Everything's really, really nice. I guess I would still like to see just the standard motherboard connector on the motherboard, like the real standard one. But at least it's like an ATX motherboard. It's not like a weird shaped one or anything like that. So the case is not like you can swap things as you go, like, you know, 10 years down. It's so powerful. I was gonna say 5 years, but 10 years down the road, you're like, all right, let's swap things up. You can repurpose a lot of this machine here. Very good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get the Dell warranty. Dell has really good warranties. I've used it once before, but I know other people who have used, you know, Dell warranties, that kind of stuff. And so, you know, getting into a system like this where you get access to, you know, one coherent system means that for noobs, that's obviously very important. But even people like me, like I could troubleshoot, you know, take component by component. But if something goes wrong with your system, you know, I don't have to figure out what's wrong with it and then take that component, contact the company and send it to them. I can just, you know, contact the company and be like, something's wrong here. And it's one coherent system. That's very nice. And in this market, I mean, prices are so bad right now when you're like buying components individually. Actually getting into a pre-built like this can actually be not only compelling for the things I just mentioned, but it can actually save you money potentially too. So that's the Dell Alienware. Well, it's not really Dell. That's the Alienware by Dell. Area-51. This is a big beast PC right here. This is the revision for 2026 that has the new 9850X3D, you know, the most powerful gaming CPU you can get. It's a monster. Truly, it's a monster.